Hi folks, one of the things that I've been wanting to do for ages is to do sort of like a desk tidy tutorial on SketchUp. I'm using the SketchUp free, so that does look different to the 2016 version that you'll have to search up on the program list by using the start button, the sort of magnifying glass to search for it. All of these tools are on the top here, so they look exactly the same, which is great. So you'll be able to find them, and I just hover over them, and I'll also explain them as I go along. Right, now first of all, some of these things like the phone and the glue stick I've drawn out already on SketchUp. I wouldn't bother drawing these out or trying to get them off the 3D warehouse, because when you get them off the 3D warehouse, they're massive. They bring them in and they're not to scale, and you have to scale them down. It's a long-winded process, which probably requires another tutorial video. So I would just actually draw the desk tidy itself. As you can see, I've got a piece of acrylic which has been line bent using a strip heater to get a variety of shapes on a wooden block. Wooden blocks, we can supply those as well when you're doing the actual practical, so you can use this a bit in your design. The wooden block's good, it adds a bit of weight, it anchors the design down. We'd probably have like a screw in the middle to screw it onto the block. We'd have to drill a hole or a laser cut a hole or something like that. And as you can see, there is actually holes for the pencil and the glue stick. I'll talk about those in a minute. Right, so the first thing I'm going to say to you, one of the things you're going to have to get really good at is kind of creating steps out of shapes and using measurements. The measurements are down here, they should be also down there on your screen. If you can't see them, you need to full screen your screen to make sure that you can see them at the bottom right hand corner. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm using the measurements here, so this is 85 by 250. So I'm going to start off with I'll keep it even simpler. I'll just do a measurement of 80. And you're going to type that before you click away from it. If you click away from it, what happens is you define the shape. So I'm going to just highlight that using the arrow, the selection tool, and I'm just going to delete that. I want you to actually type in the measurements 80, 6, because that's the actual thickness of the acrylic, and press enter. And that, although it looks longer, is actually about the same. It's actually 5mm less than what you've got there. This is floating up in the air. Don't worry about it. It can be floating in the air. It doesn't really matter. I'll probably just draw it down just so it looks a little bit more consistent. So what I'm going to do, just to kind of ground me in the same place, I'll draw a line across my original one, and then I'll start drawing my desk tidy from there. So 80, 6. Right, okay, good. And I'm going to just delete away this line because I don't want it really joined up anymore. Right, okay, so I'm going to use the roller mouse to zoom in, and I'm going to use now the push-pull tool. I've just used the rectangle tool, obviously. I'm going to push-pull this up to, let's go up to 80. No, actually, I think what I'll do is, I'll go up to 80. All right, okay. I'm just going to double check my measurements over here. So I'll have a quick look, because this is actually the right height for a glue stick. I can just get a measurement off of that. Yeah, it's saying 85, so 80 would be perfect. Yeah, 80 is absolutely fine. So we'll start with that. Now, there's two different ways you can go with this. You can kind of make a sort of a triangular shape off of this, or you could use blocks, or you could use what I call steps. So I'm going to just show you how to do the steps. This is what you need to get good at. Once you master this, you'll be flying. Alright, so I'm going to go right to the end point with the rectangular tool again. Look at your measurements, do 80, 6, and then push pull. I'm going to push pull this 60 this time. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky, because you're going to have to go underneath this little shelf that you've just created. I'm just going to use the pan tool, which is the hand tool, to make sure I can get underneath there without any difficulty. So I'm just going to pan over and then orbit using pushing the mouse roller button down, the roller down, and I'm just going to go underneath, start from the corner, draw it out like that, and then do 80,6. Alright, great. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting, and this is where you see what I like to call the intuitiveness of this program. You see you get this kind of, I call it the magnetic fishing line, because it's like it's got a magnet at the end of a fishing line, and you can cast this off anywhere. But what will happen is it will actually link to the end point of the other one, so it's exactly symmetrical. Alright, it's exactly the same length. Great, I'm happy with that. I'm going to now do another box off of this, and I'm going to do 80,6. You see a bit of a pattern here, I hope. Push pull this out, and I might go another 60. Okay, and lastly I'm going to just create a little bit of a tray here on top, 80,6, and then I'm just going to bring this up a little bit further. So that's a little tray for rubber there at the end. Rubbers actually are 30 by 30 roughly, so maybe that tray is a bit too big, but I'm quite happy with it. You could also think about perhaps having side bits to the tray here, which you can drag up again. So I'll just put a side bit on by using the rectangle tool again, and I'm just drawing that out. Hang on, if I can just need to use the pan tool again sometimes. That's the whole thing about SketchUp, is just getting the angle right, because that really helps when you're drawing something. So yeah, because then I want to go to that end point, and I'm leaving it. I'm doing so this is 12, so I'm going to go 6, and that gap was 54, I believe. Great, so that's going to go up. Oh, actually I've done that wrong, so I'm doing that as because of the angle I was drawing it on the wrong face. Oh, I see. I'm going to have to do it from, I think I'm going to have to do it from the other side. So I just pressed escape to get out of that, to stop drawing with that for a moment. It's kind of getting a bit buggy. Right, there we go. So that's 54,6. Good. And then I can drag this up. So you might have to deal with, and I'm using the fishing line again. I could do the fishing line up to here if I wanted to, but I'm going to do it to there. And that would now be kind of like a side wall. You could do the same here. Right, okay, so we've got this so far. How do I put my holes in it and make them symmetrical like they are in that one? I'm going to draw a line in the middle. So I'm going to use the pencil tool, not the wavy freehand tool. I want to be exact. And I'm going to divide this up, just to have it and have it for me every time. Okay, good. And you can divide it up as many times as you want. I'm using these as construction lines. A circle, I'm going to go and get a circle for a Pritt stick, would have a radius of about 16, because the glue stick or Pritt stick usually has a radius of 15. Pencil is usually a radius of 6, so I'm going to give this a radius of 4, so there's that extra millimeter all around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rubber tool or the eraser tool and just erase those construction lines all around. So I end up with 2 circles, a smaller one and a larger one. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use the push pull to actually cut into this material. Now to do this I need to use my magnetic fishing line to the bottom edge. I need to get rid of that last line there, because otherwise that will be carried down as well with the push pull. Push pull that down, and I have to click that to the edge. It says on edge. Yeah, you can see that, and that will cut through. I can't really go beyond that edge anyway. Okay, fantastic. We're doing really well so far. What I want to do now is I want to put an angle in, so I can put like my phone on there, and it's like facing upwards, so I can still use it. Now Now this is, if I remember correctly, 80. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull out a block 80 this way, and then I'm going to sculpt into that block, a bit like a sculptor. Okay, so let's pull this out, 80. Yeah, type in 80. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just draw a line round about to here. I'm happy with that. I mean, if you want to be exact, you could, you know, draw off a line which is 60 on this, but I may as well do that, because let's keep consistent with the thickness. So I'll draw along here, because that's going to kind of carry on a parallel line for me. And I'm going to, from this point here, I'm going to draw along 6, just drawing a second line, and then I'm going to go straight down. And look, the way it's so intuitive, it just kind of straight away knows which way you want to go. And that gives me, I should leave that in. That gives me the lines that I want. So I'm going to go now from here to here, because that's a perfect square now. And I can draw along here 6 as well. So it's all about measuring and entering measurements. And I get that end point, and that should hopefully now be all perfect. I'm going to get rid of this line down here. I'm going to get rid of that line now. And I'm going to push pull this away to the edge using the magnetic fishing hook again, to any edge, any outside edge on that side. Same thing with this, any edge on the outside. And now I've got desk tidy. If you want to, just at the end, you can go up 6 and draw a line along here. You could use the rectangle tool as I was using before, and you can push pull this out a little bit. So it creates a cradle for your phone. I'd make that at least 20, because the phone, its thickness here of the phone is actually about 10 millimeters. If you look around, you'll see that it says 10 there. And just use the pan button again to, you see that it's 10 there. Okay. Now also you might notice on my desk tidy over here that I kind of first of all designed, there's a little gap there. And the reason I put that gap in is because if you look closely at your phone, you'll see that there's a USB charging port at the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to do the same here. And to do this is very simple. I'm going to find the center, just that kind of comes up with that nice little blue circle. And from the center I'm going to draw a rectangle, which would be 5 by, we'll make it along, it will be 5, and I think the thickness of that is that 6? Yeah, good. And then 5 by 6 on the other side as well. So go 5, 6, and it'll know what you're talking about. Okay, great. I'm just going to erase this line in the middle. That was just to find the center point, another construction line. I'm going to push pull this down to around about there, because that looks like right for the, you know, if you want to be quite kind of picky about it, it's actually about 3 millimeters or so. I should probably go back a little bit more, and there you have enough space for a charger cable to go in. Right, that is a desk tidy, a very basic one, admittedly. You could draw a block underneath it very, very easily by drawing a rectangle underneath it from corner over to this corner, and that's going to make this solid, but you can erase that afterwards. Now what you want to then do is go underneath it, and you want to push pull this down in a couple of different sections. So you could, oh, I see what's happened there. You could push pull this down first by, let's say, 20, and then you could do the same here and do the magnetic fishing line, and there right at the end as well if you wanted to. I think I'll leave that. And now what I'm going to do, just to separate this out again, to give it back its definition, is just draw a line across, and the same here. Both sides have to be symmetrical, and it goes green when it's symmetrical, so don't worry, it's very easy to do. And then I'm going to push pull this bit away here back to my line, and that should Yeah, great. So that's now see-through, and I can get rid of this line here, and I can get rid of this line here. Now you can also add color. I prefer to just do the whole thing one color because it's easier rather than kind of going all the way around. Select everything, paint bucket, and let's use a blue this time. That's nice. And then I'm going to deselect everything. I'm going to use the wood, and I'm just going to do the base in that kind of wood color. Alright, here we go, just going around the base. I think it's easier to do the whole thing like one color first and then just select the bits that you want to change. So let's just go around, and I'm happy with that. I need to just divide that with a line so that I can kind of color it in two different colors. There we go, same at the back. Alright, and that's how you design a desk tidy. It doesn't have to look like that, I just wanted to show you a couple of different techniques. Thanks for watching, and I hope that's been some help to you.